So let's have a look at how we create these stat packs that I've been showing you in the last video and in this video, where we get the data from, and how to scrape websites to populate your stat packs for your pre-game research, which is what I've done here, as you can see on the screen. So this is my Premier League one, which I'll try and do a video about before tomorrow when it starts, but we already saw the Championship one that I spoke about in a previous video. I think it was over here, wasn't it? Yeah, this one. So I talked through this in the last video, and I want to show you how we get the underlying data. So that's all of this stuff in the tables, and I use an IMPORTHTML function, which is a simple Excel function, and I use a few different websites I use for my data, but I'm not going to show you the exact websites because although nobody's really going to give a shit from those sites because I've got like 2 followers, I don't want to risk them stopping being able to scrape it because I find it really useful, so we'll use an example. So firstly, I guess we should look at what is IMPORT.html. And so from the Google Docs Help Center, you can see IMPORT.html imports data from a table or list within a HTML page. And that's what we're going to do. So we're going to find a page and we're going to tell it which tables we want to copy data from, and we're going to use the function to do it. So the syntax you can see, so you always put IMPORT.html. So I'll show you in this example one, IMPORT.html, and then the URL that you want to use, the query, and the index. So the URL is the name of the page. The query is whether it's a list or a table. So you can see here we want table. And then the index is which number table it is from the page. So often a page with a lot of data on will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different tables. So you're telling it which table. You can use the developer tools on a page to tell you, but I tend to just sort of guess. So I'll put in table 1. If that don't look right, I'll put in table 2 and I'll find the table that I need. Sometimes you'll see that websites, it looks like it'll be the first table on a page and it actually comes out at 3 or 4, and it's because some of the advertising sections are in tables. You can't tell how the website's been created, how the page has been created. So you might get some menus that you think is a menu, but it's actually a table, and that'll be table 1, and in fact your table is table 2. It's just trial and error. You can go through and figure it out. So that's what the guidance says on IMPORT.html. But then we also add in columns, so you can also on top of that add which columns you want out of a table, so it doesn't have to return the whole table, which is something that I do, so I'll show you that in a sec. You probably saw already up here. I'm going to use the NFL. I know absolutely nothing about NFL, like literally, like I know the team names. Yeah, I don't know. I know a little bit about most sports. It's like a running joke with my wife that sort of any sport that's on, I can generally sort of know a few things and sort of watch it, but I know nothing about this. So partly that's why I'm using it. I just want to see the data. I don't want to start analysing it. So I've got the NFL website open and it's got some tables for some ball throwing stuff. So we're going to use that. If we go over, I created a blank spreadsheet, copied the IMPORT.html function that I've been using, but obviously we're going to change it because now I'm going to use the NFL website. So literally just copy and paste the HTML, the URL, and put it in here in between the not speech marks, or the quotation marks, and then press enter, and you can see that it's returned some of the data from this table here, and it is table 1 in this instance. So ignore the bit about the advertising things, but it is. We've put table 1, so we've got the URL, and then we've got table 1, and that's given us this. But because I've copied this over from my previous stat pack, we've only got certain columns because I didn't want all the columns on all of the ones that I was using. So you can see we've got column 1, 2, 3, 8, 12 and 13, a bit random. So we've got 1 being the names, and then how many won and lost. So that'll be 1, 2 and 3, 1 lost, 1, 2, 3. Then we skip some. I mean, it doesn't matter. We get to whatever that is, who knows, and then whatever that is. So I'll show you how you can add extra columns. So it's not going to be rocket science, but after here we've got, so after the sort of what they're telling us here on the guidance, after the index, we're then adding this little bit here. So we're opening the quotation marks again, we put in select, and then we put in the columns that we want, closing the quotation marks, and then closing off the brackets to actually close it all off. So we've got select column 1, 2, 3. So what if we put there col 4, and we'll put col 5, and you'll see it just adds another couple of columns. So you can do that for whichever one you want, so however many you want. So you literally just count it and you're calling it. So we've put table 1 as I said. If I change it to table 2, so we've got table 1, so we've got the east, which is table 1 here. So I'll show you if we change this here to the number 2, it will give us different data. Yeah, so now we've got the north, which is here. It's got the same column. So it's literally, you're just telling Excel, or I'm using Google Sheets, but you're telling it which data to take. So we're telling it we want these columns, we're telling it we want from this table, we want it overall from this website, and then it'll pull in all this data. And it's as simple as that, really. So you can see how I've got the data going back to this. You can see this is how I populated this. So it would have had that import HTML function there for the website that I use, and then it's generated all of this. So each one of these is a different table on a different page from a different, not all from different websites, but many of them from different websites, and it will give me all of this. What I've then done is copied all the data and pasted it back in as data, and so that it's not using the import HTML function anymore. As you can see, this isn't calling on any websites to bring this data in, it's static data now. And that's because if you do too many of these, it lags quite a lot, and Google will say you've got too many calls for data, too many import HTMLs, consider using less. And it takes a long time to, when you've got as many leagues as I have, it takes too long. So I copy and paste the data over the top of itself, but delete the HTML import, so that it's literally just the raw data. Now that's fine, especially for this stat pack, because it's from 24-25 data, because it's not going to change, it's completed data. So what I've done then is take all of this data and I've put it into a sort of more user-friendly format for me. So I've been copying it. So I have done some manual work here, copying and pasting it into all of these columns so that it looks a little bit better. And then for the fixtures, I can quickly show you this. For the fixtures, this was last week's first game of the season for the Championship, which I spoke about in my first video. I've just been going in and getting the average. So if you look at Coventry versus Hull, over 0.5 first half goals. So I want it to average the overall first half goals at home for Coventry and the overall first half goals away for Hull, and that's given me 63% chance. So you can see we're telling it use the average from Championship, the tab here, which is Championship, and then I'm saying I want 08 and R10, and if we look at this, you can see that 08 is Coventry at home, and what would you say, R10, did I say? I've got such a bad memory. R10, yeah, see, that's Hull away. So I'm just asking it to average those out and give me that number, and I've done that for all of those. So that's just a real quick and dirty demonstration of how I put together that stat pack.